The WOW signal was not sent by aliens. At least, that's what most scientists will tell you today. But they can't prove it. And that's the problem.
On August 15, 1977, at 11:16 p.m. Eastern Time, a radio telescope in Delaware, Ohio received a transmission unlike anything detected before or since.
It lasted exactly 72 seconds. Then vanished forever. The Big Ear radio telescope was a football field-sized array of metal mesh and electronics, scanning the sky for signals from space.
It was part of SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Every night, the telescope collected radio waves from distant stars, printing the data as rows of numbers and letters. Volunteers would review the printouts manually, looking for anything unusual. On this particular night, nobody was watching in real time. The telescope operated automatically, recording data onto magnetic tape and printing it out.
The numbers represented signal intensity, how strong each radio wave was. Most of the time, the printout showed ones and twos, representing cosmic background noise. Occasionally, threes or fours. Nothing interesting.
3 days later, a volunteer astronomer named Jerry Emmons sat down to review the printout. He was flipping through pages of unremarkable data when he saw something that made him freeze. A sequence of characters that climbed higher and higher, 6
E Q U J 5. In the telescope's coding system, letters represented double-digit numbers.
You meant a signal intensity of 15 times stronger than background noise.
Emmons grabbed a red pen and circled the sequence. In the margin, he wrote one word, WOW. That word would become the signal's permanent name.
But what made this sequence so extraordinary wasn't just its strength.
It was everything else about it that defied natural explanation. First, the signal came from a very specific frequency, 1420 MHz. This is the frequency at which hydrogen atoms, the most abundant element in the universe, naturally emit radio waves. Scientists call it the hydrogen line.
In 1959, physicists Giuseppe Cacconi and Philip Morrison published a landmark paper arguing that any civilization trying to communicate across space would broadcast at this frequency.
It's the cosmic equivalent of a universal language. The frequency was so specific, so narrow, that natural sources couldn't produce it.
Stars, planets, comets, they all emit radio waves across a broad range of frequencies, like white noise. This signal occupied a bandwidth narrower than human-made radio stations.
It was focused, precise, artificial. Second, the signal rose and fell in a very specific pattern. The Big Ear telescope didn't move, it relied on Earth's rotation to sweep different parts of the sky across its field of view. Any stationary source in space would produce a signal that gradually increased as it entered the telescope's view, peaked, then decreased as it passed out of view. The WOW signal did exactly this. The curve was perfect. This meant the source was far away in space, not from Earth or near Earth orbit. A satellite or aircraft would have moved too fast, creating a different pattern. This source was fixed against the background stars. Something in deep space was transmitting. The signal came from the direction of Sagittarius, near the constellation's western edge. The exact coordinates placed it in an empty region of space, far from any known star. The nearest stellar system in that direction was over 120 light-years away. If something there transmitted the signal, it would have left in 1857, before the invention of radio. Everything you think you know about why we haven't found it again is probably wrong. Within days of Emmons' discovery, astronomers pointed the Big Ear telescope back at the same coordinates. They found nothing. They tried again. And again. Over the following weeks, they conducted dozens of follow-up observations. Every time, silence. This is where the mystery deepens. If the signal was from an alien civilization broadcasting continuously, why didn't it repeat? If it was meant as a beacon, why transmit for only 72 seconds? If it was a deliberate message sent toward Earth, why haven't we received another? Some scientists proposed the signal might have been narrowly beamed, like a lighthouse. Perhaps Earth passed through the beam briefly as both our planet and the source moved through space. If the beam swept past us, we'd only detect it for a short window. But this raises new questions. What kind of technology could focus a radio beam so precisely across hundreds of light years? Others suggested the source might have been transient, a one-time event, like a stellar collision or explosion. But known cosmic events don't produce narrowband signals at the hydrogen line. They emit across the entire spectrum. And the signal's intensity curve matched a fixed source, not an explosion. By the 1980s, most scientists had filed the WOW signal away as an unsolved curiosity. Interesting, yes. But without repeatability, impossible to study further. The Big Ear telescope continued operating until 1997, when it was dismantled to make room for a golf course. Yes, a golf course. One of the most important instruments in the search for alien life was torn down to build a driving range. But the story didn't end there. In the 2000s, advances in astronomical surveying revealed something unexpected. The WOW signal's coordinates contained no stars we knew about in 1977. But they did contain something else, a sun-like star catalogued as 2-192819882640123. Its spectral class is similar to our own Sun. It sits almost exactly on the signal's path. Distance estimates placed the star about 1,800 light-years away, much farther than initially thought. If a civilization there transmitted the signal, they would have sent it around the year 177 AD, during the Roman Empire on Earth. We received their message 1,800 years into our future. They have no idea if anyone heard it. In 2012, on the signal's 35th anniversary, humanity sent a response. The Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico transmitted 10,000 Twitter messages from the public toward the same coordinates in Sagittarius. The transmission contained greetings, questions, and expressions of hope. It will arrive around the year 3812. If anyone's there, we won't hear back until 5612. But some scientists urged caution. Broadcasting our location into space, they argued, might be dangerous. If a civilization advanced enough to receive and respond exists, we have no idea what their intentions are. Stephen Hawking famously warned against active messaging, comparing it to indigenous people lighting fires to attract the attention of Columbus's ships. History shows that contact between civilizations at different technological levels rarely ends well for the less advanced. Meanwhile, skeptics proposed Earth-based explanations. Could the signal have been a reflection of human radio transmissions bouncing off space debris? Unlikely, the frequency was protected by international law. No one was supposed to broadcast at 1420 MHz. Could it have been a secret military satellite? Possible, but the signal's characteristics didn't match known satellite technology. In 2017, a new theory emerged. Antonio Paris, an astronomer in Florida, proposed that the signal came from a comet. Specifically, Comet 266P/Christensen, which passed through the region in 1977. Comets release clouds of hydrogen gas, and hydrogen emits radio waves at, you guessed it, 1420 MHz. Paris tested this by observing other comets and detecting similar signals. The media jumped on this explanation. Headlines declared the WOW signal mystery solved. But other astronomers weren't convinced. The signal's strength was far too high for a comet. Paris's detected signals were thousands of times weaker. And comets emit radio waves continuously, not in precise 72-second bursts. The curve didn't match. Jerry Emmon himself rejected the comet theory. In interviews before his death in 2022, he stated that while he couldn't prove the signal was extraterrestrial, natural explanations didn't fit the data. He believed the source was artificial. Whether alien or human-made, something intelligent had transmitted it. Here's what makes the WOW signal uniquely frustrating: it's the best candidate for extraterrestrial contact we've ever found, and simultaneously the least useful. We detected it too late to respond in real time. We can't verify it because it never repeated. We can't study the source because we don't know exactly where it is. It's a cosmic voicemail from an unknown caller who hasn't called back. Modern SETI projects have learned from this frustration. Today's radio telescopes monitor multiple frequencies simultaneously and save all data digitally.
Projects like Breakthrough Listen use algorithms to flag interesting signals in real time, allowing immediate follow-up.
If another WOW signal appears, we won't miss it. Some argue we're looking in the wrong place. Advanced civilizations might not use radio at all. They might communicate with neutrinos, gravitational waves, or technologies we haven't discovered yet. Radio is what we humans use, so it's what we search for. But that's like losing your keys in a dark park and only searching under the streetlight because that's where the light is. Others maintain the signal was human interference. We simply couldn't identify a passing satellite, a rogue transmission, an equipment malfunction. But this explanation requires us to dismiss multiple trained astronomers who reviewed the data and found no evidence of error. It asks us to believe a coincidence stacked on coincidences, wrong frequency, wrong pattern, wrong timing, all by accident. The truth is, we may never know. The WOW signal exists in a scientific limbo, too strange to dismiss, too incomplete to confirm. It remains the strongest argument both for and against the search for extraterrestrial intelligence. Yes, we detected something extraordinary. No, we couldn't prove what it was. In 2023, scientists proposed using next-generation telescopes like the James Webb Space Telescope to search for technosignatures, evidence of technology, in the region of the signal. If an advanced civilization exists there, we might detect atmospheric pollution, artificial lights, or megastructures. We're no longer just listening. We're learning to look. Until then, the WOW signal remains what it has always been, a 72-second whisper from the cosmos that said just enough to change everything, and just little enough to prove nothing. Somewhere in the direction of Sagittarius, 1,800 light-years away, something happened on August 15, 1977. Whether we'll ever know what, that's still an open question. If this mystery hooked you like it's hooked scientists for nearly 50 years, there's plenty more where this came from. Hit subscribe for deep dives into the unexplained events that make you question everything we think we know about the universe. We're just getting started.